I'm Tharanki Ramacharaka. Hopefully you are a viewer who has been looking at least some of my other playlists. Particularly my playlist called Personal Evolution Part 1. My series, the thumbnails of which in large say Act Now, the thumbnails of the videos. And then Personal Evolution Part 2, and then also especially Personal Evolution Part 3. Perhaps you've also seen my Astral World book narration, as well as the Arcane Teachings by William Walker Atkinson. I haven't written a script for this video right here. I'm winging it. I want to point out a couple of things. If you have seen or participated in the viewing of the playlists that I just named, then you may recall several things. I mentioned that becoming familiar with the world control hierarchy no doubt goes beyond human beings on this planet and on into other planes associated with this planet. The astral plane, for example, and the lower mental plane. I talked about entities. Thought forms, for example, being artificial entities of the mental and astral planes, as well as other entities, natural entities. Didn't talk too much about natural entities. There no doubt are such things as demons. There are also thought forms that act as demons. They are probably the entities most associated with humanity, insofar as they are human created. I have talked about personal evolution, personal unfoldment. I have talked about the ultimate goal of personal evolution, self-actualization, movement toward true selfhood. I want to make something clear here about this stuff. When it comes to the truth, we hear about various books, we hear about various sources of internet information, YouTube videos, all claiming to have the truth. I don't claim to have a big handle on the truth. What I give you here in my channel, my own videos, are as close to it as I have encountered that I know of, and given my own experience and research. And I stick with what is safe when it comes to things to practice. But I don't claim a huge handle on the truth of all affairs. Probably the biggest handle that I have on the truth is that most information that we humans have been exposed to all of our lives is not the truth. Now, of course, Not all things can be true, nor can all things be a lie. Because if either of those were the case, then the idea of truth versus non-truth would fly out the window, and language would have no meaning whatsoever. But it does have meaning. There is rational use of language, therefore there is such a thing as truth, and there is such a thing as non-truth. Furthermore, when it comes to learning about the various planes of manifestation, I have given some information about the lower ones, not much about the higher ones. It's because not much truth is known about the higher ones. Much more is known about the lower ones. I haven't given you everything there is to know about the lower ones. I've given you some things to know. Why? Not because I want to spark your interest in researching and experiencing the astral plane and so forth for yourself outside of your natural course of evolvement through them, through these planes, you know, through the cycle of life, you know, your life cycle, the birth, reincarnation cycle. Outside of that, experimentation into these planes, I'm not trying to excite your curiosity into going and on an adventure trip. I'm trying to fill you in on what there is, some things there are to know about, so that you won't do that. When it comes to personal unfoldment, you don't need experience of the astral plane or any other planes. None of that is required. Skip all that. Because there are things, there are phenomena, there are entities that should be avoided, like the plague. And as I've already indicated in certain of these other playlists of mine, many of these entities can take whatever forms they like. They also can be extremely deceptive and display what we might call enormous quantities of intelligence and qualities of deception. Right? To know what's the truth is very difficult. Beyond these few basic facts. Okay? To assume that we can just reach out to the higher planes and contact those entities and get their help, bypass that crap too. Because you never know when you're getting deceived by the lower plane entities. You think you're reaching out to some higher plane entity, and you're just getting deceived by some lower plane entity. How would you know the difference? By the feeling you get? The warm, fuzzy feeling? Bypass all of it. Shoot for the highest. You don't need anything in between. I've talked about transhumanism. It's not a new idea. Things along the lines of transhumanism have manifested on this planet before. I recently gave a breathing technique called spinal breathing. When giving that technique, I mentioned that this is the only Kundalini yoga, Kundalini oriented pranayama technique that I'm going to give. One simple, safe spinal breathing technique. I want to add something right here about that. In your practice of it, if you do it for a long time, you may experience some phenomena. Here's what to do. If you experience anything, like the appearance of entities in your consciousness, in your mind's eye, let's say, anything, any phenomena whatsoever, ignore it and continue your breathing exercise. Ignore it. Don't get distracted. And that's the lesson here. In general, in your personal involvement, don't get distracted from the ultimate goal. Go only for it, because anything else along the way is just a distraction, and possibly a destructive one. How would you know the difference? This video will be the first in a playlist. And I don't know what I'm going to call the playlist yet, but I think it's going to involve the word truth and then a question mark. There's going to be at least one video in it, other than this one, right? There's going to be at least one. And it's going to involve something about proof that aliens don't come from other galaxies, something like that. Well, I don't know if it's proof of such a thing, but it does show some stuff that is very interesting. I don't know if it's proof that there are no aliens from other galaxies, but it does seem to bring to light some other things. You'll see some things that perhaps you didn't know about. I don't know how true it all is, but it should at least tune you in to the fact that there is enormous deception going on. And it does have to do with entities that involve other planes associated with this planet or this region of our own solar system. Okay, this immediate moon-Earth little system here. And it should give you the idea to not mess around with anything other than what is in front of you to do today when it comes to your job and your family and your own personal involvement toward the very highest goal. And don't get distracted by anything in between. Don't go relying on other entities to help. Don't think that aliens are going to come save us. Don't turn to the news. Don't turn to the government. set your motivating goals for the very highest that you possibly can fathom. And stop at nothing short. Don't stop along the way and get distracted by anything else. The truth is out there. Well, more likely it's right in here. Right in here. Right here. Right here. Maybe I'll publish this video or maybe I'll remake it. I'm not sure. I'll have to look at it first. Because like I said, there was no script for this. I'm Tharan Q. Raman Churaka, and that's it for now.